Hello, my friend, and welcome. This is the Back to Me podcast, and I am Heather, and I am super excited that you are here. And I just want to let you know that you're going to hear some tips and some tricks, some ideas, all to help you live your happiest and healthiest life. It is called Back to Me because when you are taking care of yourself, then you can take better care of others. And my goal is to make the world a better place. This is Wellness Your Way. I am really happy that you're here. Your true self is waiting. So it is time to step up and thrive. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Back to Me podcast. And if you are listening to this, you are probably on the new platform. So welcome to the new platform because holy moly, things have been going crazy, but in a good way. I actually am one of those people who actually likes change. If things stay still too long, I start to get fidgety. So I'm always looking to make things better. And in the vein of making things better, we have someone who can help us make things better. Anita Sarda, welcome, my friend.
Heather, thank you so much for having me on. I'm beyond excited about doing this with you.
It's so funny because we actually know each other. So it took us a little while to get into the podcast to start talking. But I thought, well, we should probably get to this. So I have you as a leadership coach, an author, speaker, but you are way more than that. And you can never capture everything in a title, really. And I know this isn't where you started. So the things that I'm always super curious about, and I know a little bit of it, but what led you into this space that you're in now? Like something changed, some realization, anything?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Well, I mean, let me just 30 seconds background. I'm a child of immigrant parents, and one of the things that often happens with immigrant children is the notion of go to school, grab a great education, grab a great job, stay there, retire, live a life. And so that's what I did for a really long time. And I've got a couple of degrees, joined an amazing corporate company, rising up the ranks, the whole deal.
The thing you do.
Yeah. And, one of the things that happened to me, and I feel like it often happens to most people, the idea is, do you recognize it as a pivotal moment in your life, or do you just ignore it? And for me, my pivotal moment came when my son was 7. So this is, they're now young adults, but my son was 7. I was working a lot. I did love my career in my job, but I had come home and he was already home. I was taking my coat off. So it was still on me. I just taken my boots off, and my son looks at me and goes, "How was your day, Mommy?" And I said, "Great. How was yours?" And he said, "Great." He goes, "Who'd you fire today?" And it was like, an arrow to my heart. It was like this dagger. And I stood there stunned. And, he kind of, his back was to me because he just turned from the breakfast bar and went back to his, whatever he was doing. And I was frozen in time. And I went, oh my God, that's what my kid thinks I do all day is destroy people's lives. Now he's 7.
He doesn't know that destroys people's lives.
I recently reshared this story with him and he goes, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean." I go, "No, you're 7." But, and now he's got a full-time job. And so he's like understanding the whole notion of firing. But it was this, for me, it was this incredible pivotal moment of, oh my God, what do I want to do with my life? How do I want my children to see me? I mean, I had 2 kids at that point, a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. And I'm like, that's not how I want my children to see me. Needless to say, it was years before anything changed, but it was as if a seed got planted. And then every time things would happen, it was this water that went and cultivated the seed. And very accidentally, I found myself down an entrepreneurial journey, unexpected, completely unplanned. I found a company called LegalShield that offers legal services to ordinary families, people, me, you, businesses. And I just went, oh my gosh, this is brilliant. this decades old company. And I went, I'm going to tell everybody. I got started with them, not realizing I was down this entrepreneurial journey, but it aligned with the notion that I'm helping people get access to something that we're priced out of. And so that fit this notion, this pivotal moment of, I want to do good. I want my kids to be proud of me. And it led down this path of doing good, being good, but also going down this entrepreneurial journey I hadn't planned.
That is hilarious. And imagine the kids on the schoolyard. My dad's a fireman. My mom fires people.
I think there's a movie about it. And I guess I didn't realize how much it happened, because even my hairdresser was like, I saw a movie, and it was like a George Clooney movie where they just went around firing people around the country. And I just was like, she's like, I thought of you. I'm like, oh my God, is this what everybody thinks I do for a living? I'm like, I actually hire people. I love my job. I'm really good at it. That's not what I do. But it was during, 2008 and 9. I'm dating myself, but recession time, and there was a lot of layoffs.
There was a lot going on, man.
It was a lot going on. And so I was just one of those people. I was in management, and I was one of those people, doing those.
And people forget like the ups and downs of the economy, because it happened in the early 90s as well. When I was still in the accounting world, and I was in Ottawa, talk about tough times when the government freezes their budgets. And everybody in Ottawa goes, oh my God, because it runs so much on the government. And I know about LegalShield. If people don't know what that is, maybe you can give them a real, like a quick and dirty. Are you still legal shielding?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I really am. It's been with 12 years. My little synopsis, or what I like to call LegalShield, is like the Netflix for the legal industry. What do I mean by that? Is you pay a small monthly subscription, and now you have an entire law firm at your disposal. So we're available in 5 provinces in Canada, all over the United States. So depending on where you live, and you now get a law firm. So instead of paying $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month for a retainer, which obviously none of us can really do, or even $300, $400, $500 an hour, to ask a question, you now get an entire law firm, and we cover all areas of law. So the 3 things I think from the personal plan that I love the most are: you can call, open a file, not get a bill, just ask a question. They'll do your wills and powers of attorney. That's included. So guys, if you, for no other reason, please definitely update your documents. It's included with yearly updates. Like, if nothing else, it's the best and affordable way to do it. And you've got a great law firm.
Can I just say, not doing your will doesn't avoid death. And doing your will doesn't call in death. Like, so many people don't do it. I'm like, come on.
And to your point of your topic is all about wellness your way. I love the idea of getting paperwork done, in the sense, not because I love paperwork. Trust me, I really do. If you saw the other side of this camera, not the pretty side here that looks, like chic and empty, all the papers on this side. But wellness comes with peace of mind. And so when you have your affairs in order, that's peace of mind. No different than we are forced to do our taxes. Some people don't, but we're forced to do them. We're not forced to do our wills and powers of attorney, except the reality for most people, which you may not realize, is you actually have a will and power of attorney already done. And people are like, no, I really don't. I've never gone to a lawyer and did it. Well, the government made one for you.
Yeah.
So the government has one for you. So if you don't put your wishes down, they have your wishes already taken care of. So if you don't want them to having any more control and power of your life, then do it yourself.
Yeah. The people don't realize that there's already rules in place in case you don't fill out a will and you may not agree.
Exactly. And, and when we have, in this generation of often in our age group in particular, we often are really the sandwich generation. You were taking care of parents, and being an executor of your parents' estate is a lot of work. It's very challenging, and there's not an easy way of doing it. So that's one of the other things that helps with LegalShield. If you have young children, I have 2 young adults. I no longer am allowed to have any say in their medical. I'm not even allowed to find out information if they don't give power of attorney to their parents, their dad or I, or both. And so if you have young adults, if they don't get their powers of attorney or estate matters, you don't actually have a say as a parent. And if you've got elder parents that you're maybe taking care of, you still don't have a say. So
Right.
you're really sandwiched between two places that you're supposed to be in control of, and you have no say.
I'm supposed to help these people, yet I can't because you won't let me, right?
Correct, exactly. And so
Oh
the
my
government,
goodness.
doctors, financial institutions have a better and more empowered say than we do. And that's crazy, but it is true.
So get it done. And when you went into LegalShield, you're suddenly an entrepreneur after living a life as corporate, which I also did. You know, I went from corporate to I own my own yoga studio. I am a massage therapist. Oh, there's different things you do in corporate. Like
Right.
we both had business backgrounds, but it's different when you go into business for yourself. And I love your new program.
Thank you. So, you know, it was years of, as I said, I was accidentally an entrepreneur. And so for the first few years, I kind of just, you know, was coasting by and doing it. And then when I started to take it a little more seriously, and I have an MBA, and somehow in my mind, being fairly successful in my career, having had an educational background, naturally I should be really a great entrepreneur. Like,
Obviously.
of course, obviously. Little did I know that is so not the case at all. And so the transition and realizing how different it was like it took a long time. I mean, it was quite the epiphany when I finally everything started to click, but it was years later and a lot of heartache. And some of the biggest things that impacted me was I didn't realize how good I was at taking direction, at following a job description, you know, that stability of a job, not understanding why things just don't come to me, why I need to go out there.
Right.
That as an entrepreneur, you are actually in sales and you have to sell yourself a product or a service. You're now in sales.
Well, it's funny because when you own like my studio, my yoga studio, you're in sales and marketing, customer service, delivery, and janitorial,
Correct.
and tech, and finance.
Everything, you know, and that's the whole point. Whereas when you work in a job, you have your little bucket and that's it. You have your little bubble that you live in and you're not really responsible and everything is quite siloed. And everyone's got their own little job description. It's not the case as a business owner. It's not the case as an entrepreneur. And I truly didn't understand all those facets. So this program came out of just a reflection of what could have made my life and my journey easier, faster, and highly more profitable quicker if I had had all of this under one umbrella. And that's how the E2E program started, employee to entrepreneur.
And it's got all the pieces that you need, right? Like it's just, and I like that it's a choose your own adventure. So, you know, I was dialed in, like I knew how to do my books, but did I know how to market? NO spells no, like so much. So everybody comes in with a skill set and there's something missing that they need help with. So
Yeah,
I love the choose your own adventure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the beauty. And so because I feel that I also, to your point, have some very good strengths around entrepreneurship and this transition. What I also realized was I'm not an expert in all areas of entrepreneurship. And so shocking, but what I decided that was a better strategy is, well, why do I need to be an expert in all areas? Why not put together the team of people? So I have 44 experts, so 45 including myself, that come together in this program and provide their knowledge and expertise to the people in the program. So people train, they learn, they take that. So I've calculated that there's at least $500,000
Whoa.
expertise because each and every one of my experts has probably paid anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 each to get the skills and training that they're now willing to, give to other people by just participating in this program to train people. So under one
Right.
umbrella, you've got vetted experts, including yourself.
Spoiler alert, I'm in the program.
Yes, spoiler alert. So if you really, really, want to understand the caliber of this program, you've got it right here with Heather. So if you've got Heather, imagine also the peers that she's with in this training program. They're all at the same quality and caliber. It's amazing.
Right. And it's just, I mean, being an entrepreneur can be lonely. So having access to all this is like, oh, thank goodness. Because I remember I searched for masterminds. I have my own coach, and I have a group of coaches that I would meet with regularly, but coaches know a lot about coaching. Sometimes it's really nice to have somebody to call up and go, hey, I'm having this problem. Can you give me a hand? And so that's so good. Now, all of this is leading to what we actually wanted to bring wellness is like, I feel like we have these nuggets already. Like wellness is paying attention to those little seeds that pop up and they're not going to necessarily grow. Like the little acorn takes a while to grow into an oak tree, right? So my story sounds crazy because it sounds like I just suddenly pulled the chute and jumped, but there was a percolation time. So there's that happened. And then you've got this LegalShield, which is helping people. And then you've got this unemployed to entrepreneur, but there's even more helping people, which is what you were talking about last night.
The power of journaling.
Yeah, baby.
I love this. So
it just makes me smile.
It makes me smile too. So I don't know about, and anybody's watching, I'd love to know in the comments, but how many people, and I know very much girls tend to do this more than boys do for sure, but how many people diarize, kept a diary when they were young? And I have boxes of my diaries in the garage. I loved keeping a diary. Little did I know that my sister was reading them, which I found out at my wedding reception. She was reading all my diaries, but I'm not sure if it was worse, my sister or my mom, but whatever.
Right. Oh my goodness.
But I mean, I kept a diary for years, and then, as I said, turning into an entrepreneur was a bit of an accident. And along that journey in those early years, I was told and it was suggested to me by mentors to keep a journal. And I didn't really understand that there was an actual difference between keeping a diary and a journal. And so over time, I was starting to keep a journal, and I've now realized the power of journaling is so incredible. But let me first explain what I believe to be the difference between a diary and a journal.
Yeah.
So a diary to me is generally long form. It's generally about your feelings, and it's generally about your past. It's things that you were feeling, and now you're trying to cope.
She said this and it upset me, and then he looked at her sideways, and then
exactly. And it's all of those things. And it could be, even about your family. It could be about your siblings. It could be even about your partner. It could be about your children, whatever. But the idea is it's usually things that are not great. It's an outlet for your feelings, and it's usually past tense. It's how you made you feel. And journaling, on the other hand, I believe is present and future. I also believe it's point form. It is not generally long form. And so when I was coached to journal to help my entrepreneurial journey, I went to the dollar store, I picked up a blank paper, and I would stare at it and go, what was I supposed to do?
Oh my God, there's a blank page in front of me. Ah!
Oh my God, now what do? I have no idea. And so I'd be like, okay, write down your goals. Okay, all right, goals. Okay, great. And then, somebody said you should be grateful, so write down some gratitude. So I'm like, okay, I could do that. And then, write down your reflections, write down your wins. And like every day I felt like there was something different that I needed to journal about. And it just became very fascinating and a cumbersome activity for most days. Now, the days that I did it, and like there was a period of time, like I was very, very diligent about doing it. I did notice a big difference. But it was so easy to forget. It was so easy to look at the blank page and go, what do I do? I don't know. So what I decided when I created this E2E program as well is to create a guided journal. So you are actually to go to Amazon. You can search my name, Anita Sarda. It pops right up. But I created this journal with all the things that I wish I had. It's fully guided. It's not a lot of space with intention, because the idea is to be point form. And the first section is your mood. What was your day like? So if you do it the day before or the morning of, whatever, but it's, your mood. What were your negative thoughts? It'll probably relate to your mood.
Right.
How do you reframe them into your positive thoughts? So if you keep, I'm not good enough, or I can't get anything done, or nobody wants me. The idea is that if you catch yourself, write it down, and then reframe them, you speedy up the process, that next time it pops in your head, you already have a positive way to counter it. You already have your brain go, no, we already have a positive sentence, to counter that. What are your 3 goals? Maybe for the next day, I say the next day, but maybe for the week. And then reflections. What could you have done better? What could have been different today? Maybe, and it doesn't have to be a negative thing. So it's just, you reflect on your day. Where could I have been different? What could I have done better? And, it could have been as simple as, maybe I shouldn't have been so short with my child or my partner, my spouse. Maybe I could have opened the door for somebody that I didn't even notice was right behind me.
Maybe I should have cut that person off in traffic.
Maybe I should have cut that person off. Maybe I should have said no. A leadership skill is the ability to say no. Maybe I should have said no and not taken on one more thing. So the reflections don't also have to be that you did something wrong. It's just growth. And then my last, which is my absolute favorite, is what were your wins? What were your successes in the last 24 hours? And listing 3 to 5 successes. And I remember when I started doing that, I was a single mom. My kids were under the age of 10 when I started down this entrepreneurial journey. They're young adults now, as I said, and they are, it was hard. Like, there were days where they got dinner and it wasn't cereal, and that was like a win,
That is a win.
I got them to school on time. I drank water today, sometimes it's, I picked up the phone and made that hard, scary call. I agreed to do a podcast. I agree, whatever it might be. I went to the networking event. I, walked into the room, even though I was so anxious and I didn't know anybody there. Like, whatever is success, we tend to minimize and not acknowledge the little successes. And the more you do, you actually rewire your brain, because you need to write down a success. You notice them in the day.
Right. And I feel like the little successes aren't really little. I mean, we think they're little because we go, oh yeah, and you just dismiss it. But like walking into a room where you don't know anybody, that's a big success. Coming from an extroverted introvert, right?
Correct.
Like, it's a big deal to walk into, when I was in high school, full disclosure, I never once ate in the cafeteria because I was afraid to walk into that room. Even though I probably did know people in there, I was afraid to walk into a room with that many people in it. I ate every single day in the hallway.
Aww.
No, because I was so shy. Like,
it's one of the reasons why I'm a big believer of, when you go to networking events, to bring a friend, right? When you join a program, join it with your friend. Even my E2E program, I have a special right now that, and it doesn't even matter when you watch this. I don't care. The special is right now, meaning if you're watching this a year from now, the special is still for you. Is that I want you to, if you decide that this program makes sense for you, my special to you, and I will always honor it, is that you bring a friend and both of you will get your first month for free. And I want you to have that. And I do want you to have it, because I want you to say, I saw you on Heather's show and you said the special because I don't want you to do it alone. I want you to come with another friend, and I want you to do it together and hold hands. And as you meet people in this community and you build up the community together, maybe you don't need that friend anymore, but you can then be a friend for someone else. But sometimes just joining alone something feels scary. Well, don't join my program alone. Bring a friend.
And you get a built-in accountability partner.
Correct.
A lot of programs that I've joined recently, they're saying, here's the conversation feed to find your accountability partner. Sometimes you don't want to go, will someone be my friend? It's like,
getting picked in the playground to play a game and you're the last person picked.
I know, right?
Right?
I guess nobody wants to be my friend.
Right, exactly. So, that's one of the things that I want to help with, not even help with, that is, it's designed in the program is to provide that community. But initially, even coming into the community, bring a friend. Both of you do it together. Don't feel like you've got to be here alone if that's the thing that's blocking you or stopping you from actually taking and investing in yourself and taking your business to the next level.
And even though your journal is called, what's it called? What's the title again?
It's called Entrepreneur's Reflections Journey, but it really doesn't need to be.
I was going to say, I think that it's effective for everybody, right? So I know you developed it as the entrepreneurial journey, but I think anybody who steps outside their door, maybe they don't even need to step outside their door. Anybody who goes through a day. So I assume this is meant for the end of the day.
Well, that's because I do at the end of the day, but I've had a lot of people using it. And I have, actually, she was on your show, Nisha, who was on one of the other episodes. She does it in the mornings. That's her time. And so she does a little bit of half and half because she'll write her goals for the day. But she does a lot of her reflections from the day before, but she does it in the morning. I'm a night owl. I don't go to bed until late. So I reflect on my day at night. I do my gratitudes before I go to bed. I do my goals. I let it sit in my brain while I sleep. But that's just because I'm a night owl. For some people, that doesn't work. So I don't even care when you do it. But let me just, if I can, give some tips on journaling.
Yeah.
Find the same time every day. So if you're a morning person, do it in the morning before you start your day. If you want to do it before you go to bed, do it before your bed. If you know that you get, an hour for lunch, and you take an hour for lunch, take 10 minutes to do it. It shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes. It really shouldn't. Don't make it. Second thing is make it a habit. When you do it every day at the same time, it becomes a habit. It takes usually 21 days to create a habit. I would say it's probably closer to a month.
Yeah.
Make it a habit, and especially go away, or if you do whatever, you get out of the habit, it starts all over again. It's
a big book. It looks like you got a whole year's worth of pages in there.
5 pages. It's every day. It's every day. And the other one is find a pen you love. Pick a pen you love. You love the way the ink rolls. It feels nice in your hand, something that you want to write with. And the reason it's 365 days, so it doesn't matter when you start. A lady at a networking event that I was at last night bought it for herself for her birthday. It was her own.
Oh, sweet.
So she's using it literally tomorrow for her birthday. She's starting it tomorrow because that's her new year. It's her birthday.
Right.
Year can be anytime. And so 365 days, because the other big thing is that when you go back and you review the pages, that's when you really see your progress.
Do you go back and read your diaries?
I have. They're terrifying. Sometimes I'm oh my God. I did, and it's funny, so I moved into my new house about 7-8 years ago, and I was packing. And it was in a box in my closet in my old house. And so I had kind of forgotten about them. And I pulled the box out going, what's in here? And I literally landed on the floor in my closet, totally distracted from the fact that I'm packing. And now I'm flipping through and reading my diary going, wow. And at some point I was like, God, I was a sad kid.
You only you probably didn't write down happy things because you don't need to process those ones, right?
Right. And that's also the difference between diarizing and journaling because, in diaries, we tend to always write hard things, negative things, sad things. Very rarely do we write happy things. And the journal, the reason why I believe journal is so good is that when you write in gratitude, that's positivity. You ask for it more in your world.
Is there gratitude in there too?
Gratitude. There's a whole section of gratitude as well.
I missed that one.
Yeah. Gratitude. Maybe I didn't say it, but things you're grateful for, 3 to 5 things you're grateful for, and then your successes. And I think each one of those, both of those things in particular, are rewiring your brain into the positive, whereas diaries tend to make you wallow in the sadness. Which, listen, I'm a big believer still in keeping a diary. I really am, especially when you struggle with processing hard things that have happened in your life. So illnesses, deaths, bullying, abuse, any one of those isms, ageism, sexism, racism, any of the things that are just not kind and they're hard to process. I think keeping a diary is amazing.
Well, and I think for humans, I'll just say humans, like one of the things I have, because I deal a lot with overwhelmed overachievers, and often I'm like, you have to get it out of your head, whatever it is. If it's a emotion, if it's too much to do, if it's just like all of the alls, it's like, you got to get it out of your head because your head is a factory, not a warehouse. So if they have a big whiteboard, I'm like, write it all down or put it on Post-it notes. Sometimes I use the back of a door and I just Post-it note it all over the place. Then it's out of you and you can go, oh. Now, some of them, when you say them out loud, you're like, oh my God, that's stupid. Why was I worrying about that? Right? Throw that one in the garbage. Some of them you can see things that group together. So it's like, it's too, like, we have amazing brains.
Yes.
But it's too much sometimes to have it all in there. You get it out of you. And then you can do something with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the biggest growth things that I've learned over the last probably decade or so in this journey is, in order to really have true internal wellness, is understanding what your gaps are and working on those. I don't believe that every weakness needs to become a strength, but I do believe that understanding what your gaps are and how to fill them and how to minimize those gaps make to a much more peaceful, joyful, calmer existence.
And weaknesses aren't something to give yourself a hard time about. Like, nobody was meant to be expert at everything. Like, we've kind of covered that a little bit, but you weren't supposed to be strong in everything because that's just not the way we work. Then you wouldn't need any people. And we're social beings, and gaps for sure, because think about whether you're an entrepreneur or a parent or anything, if you have a goal and you haven't achieved it, that's because you're here and your goal is there. And there's a little gap in between of something you need to do or learn or experience or whatever it is. And that's a good thing, because when you stop, you stagnate, and then you're just sitting around waiting for the finish line. And I don't have time for that.
No. No one should have time for that. We were put onto this planet and against all odds, quite honestly, to be able to be here. And none of us should be stagnating. None of us.
No matter how old you are, no matter whoever's listening to this, no matter how old you are. I mean, my husband's, I think his uncle went back to university at 80 to get another degree. It's
amazing.
Like, keep your brain working, right? That's the best way to keep it working. Keep learning things. If you like ballroom dancing, do that, or do Zumba.
Right.
Do Sudokus. Do something.
Do something. Learn a new skill. Take on a new hobby.
I'm still trying to learn French. I'm working on it, but there's no finish line. I don't have to. I'm not doing it for any reason than pleasure. So, I don't have like a deadline that I have to be able to speak French.
Exactly. No, but that's wonderful. That's great. I laugh. I'm trying to learn to paint, but I think the sipping paints are more the sipping than the painting part. But really, but
Maybe
it's fun.
maybe I should put on a painting workshop
Yeah.
because I am a professional artist. I actually sell art. So
Right.
I'm
Wow.
I'm a professional painter and coach.
Now that would be so fun. What a
Right?
great event that would be. Right.
Ooh, I should do it at one of the. I don't want to hone in on your collaborate and what's it
Connect,
called?
collaborate.
Connect and collaborate. Yes,
That
but
would be fantastic.
that would be super fun. Whoa, we're getting distracted. I'm easily distracted. I forgot to tell you, Anita, I'm easily distracted. So,
I love it.
so all of these things, your focus is a lot entrepreneurs, but I know that it's just like everything that you offer into the world is because the LegalShield is for everybody. It's like everything you're offering in the world is like, let me help you. And I love this energy that's happening in the world that people are shifting into more service than anti-service. I don't know what to call that. The taking away.
Practical.
Yeah.
I believe, I really think that so many things that I try and help people with is really focused on helping and serving. I'll give you an example. I actually had a call this morning with someone who found me on LinkedIn, and we spent time, almost half an hour. She was really looking for, should I go back and get a job or should I start being an entrepreneur?
Right.
And it was, it's one of the things that I also want to help with. These days that we live in are changing so rapidly. But one of the things I said to her, I'm like, not everybody needs to be an entrepreneur, and that's okay. We need people who want a job and love their job. I mean, my best friend is a teacher. She loves her job. Truly loves being a teacher, and not as an entrepreneur, but she's a high school teacher. She really loves that.
Right.
That is not something that I would enjoy, but we need her. We need her to be
Totally.
teaching. I mean, we need firefighters. We need people who collect our garbage. We need people who work in the government. We need people who want to be employed and have a job and love their careers.
And be happy at what they're doing. I'm the same. I have a very good friend who's a high school guidance counselor. She used to be a teacher. She's moved into guidance and she loves her job. And I think, oh my God, teenagers.
Right? And so I don't believe that everybody should be an entrepreneur.
No.
I really don't. I do believe that if that's something that's percolating in you, there's no harm in exploring it. There's no harm in having conversations. There's no harm in investing. You don't need to spend thousands and get a degree, but investing a little bit of money to speak to some people, to maybe take a program like mine to understand what it would look like and then decide. And it's such a nominal yet also investment, but it could also be the most terrific thing you do, both either to decide to move forward or to decide not to move forward.
Right.
To spend a few $1,000s to just understand where your strengths are.
And it's super important. Like what you do isn't as important as, do you feel fulfilled? Do you like it? Do you want to be doing it all of the time? And there's people who go into entrepreneurship because they've listened to I made $10,000 a month. I'm like, oh no, they did not. Those aren't real. Don't listen to them.
No, I can sit on a beach and work 4 hours a week and I'm good and I make, 6 figures. No. Now, could you do it maybe for a week while you are traveling? Yeah.
I mean, they might be able to do it
an hour.
And there are entrepreneurs who have gotten to that point, but they've also been at it like 20 years. And now they're not alone. They have a team, right? When you're a solopreneur, no, doesn't work.
No.
Oh my goodness. So friends out in podcast land, you got to call Anita for all of your alls. I love the journal. LegalShield, I think, is a brilliant plan. And I know that when I heard of it first, a few years ago, I had never heard of it before. So I'm amazed like how it's not in the world at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we're a 50-year-old plus company, it's I did not invent it. I kind of wish I had.
I know, right?
I didn't invent it, but I learned about it. And it really is an amazing, amazing program for everybody.
Yeah. And even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, that journal is pretty, I like the little boxes because I'm not a big long form writer. I'm a get it out, get it done, get it out, get it done.
Me
So
too.
and if you want to write long form, just write smaller.
Yeah. And there's notes at the back. You could just use little pieces of paper.
Oh, look at that.
So
Perfect.
up to a bunch of pages too. If you really do need to write more long form, you can do it.
Beautiful. You have like so much to offer to the world. So I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Where do they find you?
Well, definitely my website, Anita Sarda E2, the number 2E.com, all socials, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you'd like to reach out. And I'd love to take 15 minutes and just chat with you. So through my website, you can find my booking link and just chat for 15 minutes with me. I'd love to meet you and hear your journey. And
I'm going to put all of that in the show notes. So you don't have to reach over off of the highway and write that down. Don't worry. And the guest always gets the final words of wisdom. Do you have a final thought to share?
My final thought would be just keep dreaming. Dream bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And, we often end up hitting goals and dreams because we put them so low that we can do it. But when you dream bigger and you think bigger, listen to that little voice, because we were all designed to dream bigger. And somehow we don't do it enough. Just do it.
That's amazing. That is such good advice. I'm going to put that on my wall over my desk. I'm going to turn it into a t-shirt.
I love it.
I'm going to do something with that. I'm writing it down. So friends, I am actually writing it down. Friends in podcast land. Dream bigger. If you have a dream that you want to talk to somebody about, no other way, call Anita. My video is reversed. Call Anita. Share this with people who still need to dream bigger, because maybe you can give them the gift of freeing up their I can'ts and releasing them upon the world.
I'd love to. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Anita. Have an amazing day, friends. Peace out. We'll see you next time. Hello, my friend. I hope you enjoyed that episode. And if you found it useful and you're like me and you want to help others, please share this, comment, like, subscribe, all of those things that will help this podcast to be found by more people. And if you found it useful, there's a chance that someone else will find it useful as well. If you ever have any questions, I am here to answer your questions. I would love to help you. My direct email address is info@heatherstewart.coach. You can also find me at heatherstewart.coach. And if you go over to my website, you will find copies of the podcast. You'll find the link to my Instagram and my Facebook. And I do have a personal request because I do want to help as many people as I can with these podcasts. So if you could give me a review, and my friend, I would love if you gave me a good one. If you could share this, if you could send it out into the world, I would truly appreciate it. I hope that you have an amazing day. I hope that you are finding your way back to wellness by getting back to me. Take care, my friend. Be well, and we will see you again next time.